scriptural. It says in Jeremiah 29 that when the city prospers, we prosper. So there's something important about what happens in the city and what happens in the culture. And I also think, I said this on my social media this past week, that it's not just what happens in the prayer closet that matters, it's what happens at Mars Hill that matters. So we don't just only need to pray, we should, but we should also be involved in the culture, in the public square, in the marketplace of ideas. So I think you'd agree with that. But beyond that too, I think there's a rhetorical reason that I think we should talk about it. There's this tendency now where, like, if you're wrong, you get attacked on social media, or if you have an opinion, you get attacked on social media. And I want to push against that too, man.
Sure, absolutely.
Because I just think that, like, what that is a fear tactic. And the reality is you and I both are not lawyers. We're entitled to be wrong, but we're also entitled to an opinion.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about it, at least from the standpoint of kind of what were your feelings about it, and what did you think? Because for me, I sat back yesterday and I thought two things, almost conflicting, not really, but kind of two things in my mind on each side of my head. Is one, I wanted to put myself in the shoes of the family, so I wanted to be sympathetic.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, for that family member that's been dealing with this, that probably wasn't even like really actively involved with protests, and certainly hopefully not involved with rioting and looting or anything like that. They were the ones who lost a brother, a son, or whatever.
Really acknowledging the humanity of George Floyd. Sure. Totally
So part of, I mean, and obviously I think Christ gets the credit for that, because there's not much good in me that would, but I'm thinking about them and what it must feel like for them to hear this verdict. But then also thinking about this, that there's a lot of people right now that are celebrating on social media, and I'm not sure anybody won. I'm not sure that when a jury deliberates for what I think was like 11 hours or something like that, so quickly on these big charges that if you were following the trial whatsoever, there were some issues that caused reasonable doubt. And it doesn't mean that what Derek Chauvin did was justified, or that it was right, or that he had any reason to kneel on that man's neck for so long. But I mean, just for instance, in the trial, they brought up that Chauvin's knee was not on his neck the entire time, but it was actually on his shoulder blade, and that there was video evidence of this. And all I'm saying is that there was enough room for pause that when the verdict gets turned around so quickly in a trial like this that's so big, there's a part of me that wants to celebrate, especially for the family, but then there's a part of me that also says, what does this mean for jurisprudence in America if there's a chance? And if you're smart and an intellectually honest person, not smart, if you're an intellectually honest person, you got to ask that question. What does that mean for jurisprudence in America if the mob had anything to do with that? And I say mob, probably I shouldn't, but if the outcries for justice had any weight upon the jury. And I heard somebody say this, that if this trial is about the jury, if this trial is about the media, if this trial is about anything other than what took place, then something went wrong. So you had people even saying, like, you saw that video footage, we don't need to have a trial. Like, the day that's true is a problem for America. So I'm just wondering about the implications. What were your kind of overall feelings?
Well, I spoke with an employee that I have. Part of my job is that I'm part owner of an interactive design firm. And I spoke with an employee that I had, and one of my comments was yesterday after the verdict came in was, the United States right now, Minneapolis in particular, is Paris, and this is 1790s, and Chauvin is effectively Louis XVI. I think you have to sort of extract. I mean, I'm not trying to be on purpose. I'm not trying to sort of veil what my feelings are about that, but I do feel like our culture has fundamentally shifted towards an understanding of wanting to have justice based on consensus. And what we do is we try to sort of match our understanding of justice with what the general consensus is of the population. And that's a constantly shifting thing in our world these days. And that's actually a thing that ties in directly to who we are and these sort of postmodern, sort of metamodern sort of position, and broader sort of conversations about humanity and human justice.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's where we got to pause too and ask about the role of media and the way that they shape narratives and the way that they have an undeniable power on the American discourse and on the American public and their perception of things too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all that stuff, man. I may not sound like it in our conversation today. I'm an incredibly optimistic person.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But all of that is a little bit. It's different for me because I don't feel like when you and I are about the same age when we were growing up, that was a concern.
Sure.
And maybe it always was, and we were just ignorant, whatever.
Yeah.
But it just seems like it is now, and it's at least concerning to me. And then perhaps to maybe the social media element of all this, the media and then the social media element of all this, is we're living in an age where it just seems, even if I'm wrong, it seems like we're shutting down conversation if it sounds anything like dissent from what the media is pushing to.
Absolutely. I mean, we're moving towards a consensus-based monoculture.
Yeah.
And I think we love to wrap that in sort of the nomenclature of diversity.
Yeah.
But effectively, it's not that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to push people to sort of embrace that monoculture.
Yeah.
And the media plays a big part of that. I love this. There's a cultural commentator that said, possibly if everything you say is in line with what the media, entertainment, big tech, and the government are saying, then maybe you're not the counterculture. And I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think one of the difficult things for me in particular is that this is real. It's a real human rights. This is a real human rights issue.
Sure.
And this is something that we need to. We need to work through, and we need to have discussions about this.
New episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Uberman for free right now by going to YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Simply type Indie Thinker with Reed Uberman in the search bar and click on my face. Don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to stay informed when a new episode drops.